From the operating theatres of London to the luxury tours of Belgrade and the shifting sands of Bondi Beach, the world is grappling with the crisis of trust. Tonight, we're tracking a global landscape where borders are tightening, mandates are softening, and the cost of both fame and fandom has never been higher. This is the Global News Update on Top Accolade News. The headlines. Resident doctors in England begin 5-day strike. EU eases 2035 electric vehicle mandate. Trump expands US travel ban. Trump tour Belgrade project abandoned. Resident doctors in England have launched a 5-day strike after overwhelmingly rejecting the government's latest offer, which increased training places but failed to raise pay for the current financial year. Representing roughly half of all NHS doctors, 35,107 of 55,000 resident medics voted in the British Medical Association survey, with 83% opposing the proposal. This is the 14th strike since March 2023, as doctors demand a long-term plan to address pay, staffing shortages, and career progression. NHS leaders warn of increased pressure on hospitals during a peak flu season, with staff working through the disruption while sacrificing their own holidays. The European Union is hitting the brakes on its own green future to protect the present. The European Commission has revised its rule on new car sales from 2035, requiring 90% of vehicles to be zero-emission rather than 100%, amid pressure from German and other car makers citing low market demand for electric vehicles. The remaining 10% may include petrol, diesel, and hybrid models, while manufacturers are expected to use low-carbon steel and include biofuels and e-fuels to offset emissions. Critics warn the move could slow the EU's transition to electric vehicles and undermine global competitiveness, with green transport groups urging the UK not to follow suit. Observers caution that short-term flexibility for manufacturers risk long-term climate and industrial goals. Across the Atlantic, President Donald Trump has announced an expanded US travel ban, effective 1st of January, barring nationals from 20 countries, including Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, South Sudan, Syria, Laos, and Sierra Leone, as well as individuals traveling on Palestinian Authority-issued document. Partial restriction will apply to 15 other nations, including Nigeria, Tanzania, and Zimbabwe. The administration cited security concerns, failures in vetting system, high visa overstay rate, and insufficient cooperation from foreign government as justification, while exemptions remain for diplomats, athletes, lawful permanent residents, and other case-by-case waivers. Critics warn the move risks deepening global tension and humanitarian strain. Speaking of Trump, plans for a $500 million Trump tour in Belgrade have been scrapped after Serbian cultural minister was indicted for allegedly abusing his office to support the development, and mass protests opposed the project. President Alexander condemned the setback, vowing reprisal against those responsible, while the Trump family investment company Affinity Partners withdrew the application out of the respect for the people of Serbia. The project had been promoted by Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, raising concerns about the intersection of business and politics as the family's global deal continue to expand. You're watching the Global News Update on Top Accolade News. Do stay with us. Still to come. Thanks for staying with us. Naveed Akram has been charged with 59 offenses, including 15 counts of murder, 40 counts of wounding with intent to murder, and a terrorism offense following Sunday's deadly attack on a Hanukkah celebration at Sydney's Bondi Beach that left 15 dead and dozens injured. His father was shot dead at the scene, while heroes intervened to stop the shooters. Early reports indicate the attack was inspired by Islamic State and the perpetrators had traveled to the southern Philippines prior to the massacre. Funerals for victims, including Holocaust survivors and a 10-year-old girl, are underway as NSW Premier Chris Minns announced urgent gun law reforms. The tragedy has ignited national debate over anti-Semitism, extremist threats, and firearm access. The world's most visited museum remains dark. Paris's Louvre Museum, the world's most visited cultural site, remained closed on Wednesday as staff continued a strike that began on Monday, demanding higher pay, more hiring, and better working conditions. The walkout follows a series of incidents exposing security and infrastructure weaknesses, including an October heist of crown jewels valued at 88 million euros and a water leak that damaged historic books. Louvre director is set to face questioning from the French Senate as unions warn that overwork and mismanagement are unsustainable. The strike highlights that even the most iconic institutions are vulnerable when those who safeguard culture feel undervalued. In Hollywood, Dr. Mark Chavez, a California physician who sold ketamine to the late French star Matthew Perry, has been sentenced to 8 months of home detention and 3 years of supervised release, making him the second person sentenced in connection with Perry's 2023 death. Chavez admitted obtaining ketamine through fraudulent prescription from his clinic and a wholesale distributor and supplying it to Dr. Salvador, who then provided it to Perry. The multi-year federal investigation revealed that Perry, who struggled with addiction and depression, received more than $50,000 worth of ketamine from an underground network, with a postmortem confirming the drug caused his death. Prosecutors highlighted that the doctors exploited Perry's addiction for profit, with one text mocking the actor, prompting critics to note, when fames meet greed, even a beloved star is not safe from exploitation. And finally, for sports fans, FIFA has unveiled a limited number of $60 supporter entry tier tickets for the 2026 World Cup, covering all 104 matches, including the final, as part of an effort to make the tournament more accessible for fans. The discounted tickets will account for 10% of each participating member association's allocation, with association managing distribution and prioritizing loyal supporters. While half of each PMS ticket fall under the most affordable categories, critics argue that overall pricing remains prohibitive, with some seats to the final costing up to $6,900, raising concerns about fairness and transparency. Supporters group have also highlighted accessibility challenges for fans with disabilities. Tonight's headlines remind us that the world is shaped by the choices we make, from who gets heard, to who gets protected, to who bears the cost. Courage can stop a bullet. Accountability can safeguard a culture. And fairness can make the world's biggest event truly for everyone. For Top Accolade News, I'm Ojorumi Okocha. Do have a wonderful day and keep watching the Global News Update on Top Accolade News.